to go on and on indiscriminately in their communal territories, disobeying both the Cotat and the 1937 law. These laws, indeed, recognize the imprescriptible, inalienable, unseizable, and undivisible character of communal property. They guarantee not only the collective use and exploitation of land use, but also the collective management of its natural resources. As such, most of the communes, rather than having titles for individual property, have developed the internal notion of usufruct as something that can be transmitted by inheritance within the same family. Nevertheless, increasing fragmentation and smallholding practices over communal lands have been a constant, particularly from the mercantilist agrarian reform in 1994, which favored both real estate sector and the stimulating role of the state regarding the disarticulation of the communes. Pressure exerted by this market logic is forcing many comuneros to legalize their properties in order to obtain individual titles, without which they would not be able to make use of the land in a productive or lucrative manner. That is why today there are only 24 communes within the DMQ that still maintain some form of communal property. Understanding communal land property as a determinant factor for self-identifying as commune does not seem to represent the reality, and as such it needs to be demystified. On the contrary, while communal productive assets are being dismantled, collective practices for political and social organization are consolidating, transcending the merely legal notion of commune and detaching themselves from the very tempting capitalist approach mentioned before. Strategies of direct democracy such as open assemblies and collaborative practices such as mingas are sustaining communal identity and allowing a great number of comuneros and comuneras to still define themselves as such, propelling the continuity and enhancement of different kinship ties with family, friends, and neighbors. Consequently, it becomes extremely important to understand the communes not only as rests and reminders of ancestral communal land, but rather as social organizational forms that have managed to survive in opposition to an expansive city by means of reproducing daily innovative strategies to face the future within a society where market logic prevails. Continuous violations of the communal rights, as we've seen, have finally triggered both the restructuration of a strong indigenous ethnogenetic process carried out by Pueblo Kitucara and the arising of a political movement for the creation of the Confederation of Communes of the Metropolitan District of Quito. Both aim to provide the communes with political power and territorial presence, so that what formerly appeared as a one-dimensional point to the eyes of the dominant powers, a commune has now the potential to turn into an aleph for its inhabitants, acquiring a living thickness along a certain dimension that traditional systems of representation are unable to recognize. So passive limitlessness or boundlessness can become proactive infiniteness. Our ongoing project works in direct collaboration with Pueblo Kitucara towards the creation of the Confederation of Communes, helping them to envision those forms of political construction capable of activating and fostering the above-mentioned territorial shift. If anything, this exploration has made us acknowledge the necessary change in the role of the architect and urban thinker, and consequently the territory